Thank you very much, and we will try and keep ourselves on time. And hopefully all of our candidates did look at the chat section so that they know that Monroe is our timekeeper tonight. You see him waving there, and he will let you know when you're running out of time. Almost, I think everybody has about 10 minutes to present and take Q&A. I've asked all of our attendees to put in the chat section any questions they have, because we don't want to disrupt anything. So, and I will monitor the chat to make sure if there are duplicate questions, we regroup it. So I will read off any questions that we have. We'll probably be able to take 1 or 2 per candidate. And if there's anything that the candidates want to follow up with, they certainly will know who raised the question and how they can respond to it via the chat. So with that, we are now at the point of where the rubber meets the road starting tomorrow. All of the work that you guys have been putting in over the last several months actually starts tomorrow when the ballots do drop. And I hope that everybody on this call has lined up how they're going to vote, know whether they're getting a ballot by mail, know whether they're going to do a voting center, whether they're going to drop it off or put it in the mail, know how the texting program works for the county recorder, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have always said, I don't care what people say, it is what goes in the ballot box that counts. So until those ballots are dropped and they're counted, I don't care what you've said or what you've done, that's the final effort. That's the final result. So with that, tonight we have a number of candidates, and we're going to start off with our U.S. House congressional man of CD9, who has part of this district in LD 17. I'd like to introduce to you our former mayor of Phoenix and now the U.S. Congressman from CD9, Mr. Greg Stanton. Greg, welcome.
All right, thanks, Carol, very much for that introduction. Yes, I get to represent the best parts of LD 17 in Congressional District 9. And probably like a lot of you, before we started the meeting, I did have a chance to watch a little bit of the senatorial debate, and I can say as objectively as possible, Mark Kelly is winning, and winning by a wide margin. I feel like I'm watching the movie Groundhog Day. Martha McSally spent all of 2018 challenging the patriotism of Kyrsten Sinema. That strategy failed miserably in 2018. And for some unknown reason, I don't know if she's paying her political consultants or not, but she should get her money back, because in 2020, all she can seem to do is to challenge the patriotism of one of the most patriotic people in the United States of America, a guy that served 25 years in the US Navy honorably, a guy that is one of our leading astronauts, who of course are appropriately celebrated by Americans of all political stripes. You know, Mark Kelly is a great guy, and he's going to be a great United States senator. And I can't believe that Martha McSally is a one-trick pony. Now she's questioning Mark Kelly's patriotism, and that dog ain't hunting. And so she's going to lose, and lose big on election day. And, you know, for a guy like me, I mean, Gary, I listened to what you said, by the way. It was a great talk. First off, I'm praying for your wife and her medical condition there, and I hope that the treatment still goes well. But for a guy like me, this is a really emotional time. You see, maybe like some of you, I have been involved in Democratic politics in Arizona for longer than I probably care to admit. After I graduated law school, I moved to Central Phoenix, and I got involved in, back then it was LD 25. This is the 1990s. I'm dating myself here. And I was the vice chair of LD 25 Democrats years and years ago. So I was very active in the LD system, just like so many people on this call. I worked on candidates that I believed in, many very righteous candidates, most of whom lost their elections, because that was a difficult time to be a Democrat in Arizona. I was very lucky to get involved in city government and city politics, and I served on the city council and I represented North Central Phoenix, Arcadia, Biltmore, and Ahwatukee foothills. Not exactly the Democratic bastions of the city of Phoenix, especially in the 2000s when I was lucky enough to represent them. And so I kind of have a proven track record of getting bipartisan support while staying true to my values. But during that time, I saw so many great candidates run for U.S. Senate and run for Congress and run for statewide office, and almost all of them lost their races, not because of the quality of their candidacies, just because of this political situation in Arizona. And to see so many people work so hard over so many years to get in the position that we are right now, where we're lucky to have a Democratic majority House of Representatives representing Arizona, 5 out of 9 representing Arizona. When Mark Kelly wins big on November 3rd, 2 Democratic senators, and we already have, I guess, 3 statewide elected Democrats and more coming. I saw Bill Mundell on the call. He's going to win, and we're going to sweep the Corporation Commission. So we're going to add three more statewide positions to our roster. And then, of course, when AJ wins and joins the state Senate, and we reelect Jennifer Pawlik in a tough race, those are not going to be easy races, but I have confidence in the people on this call. I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but we will have a Democratic majority state legislature and state Senate. And again, for a person like me who's been involved in a lot of races over many years, this is such a wonderful time in our state's history. It's going to be a shell shock for a lot of people that are just sort of used to Republican rule and take it for granted. I mean, there's a lot of Republican political consultants that have made a lot of money electing Republican candidates in a Republican state, and they think they're geniuses. Well, they're about to lose, and they're about to lose big time. And now we can actually have people that represent our values at all levels of government, where teachers and education support professionals are actually going to be valued. The interests of students and creating the best possible educational opportunities, and not doing it, pinching pennies, but actually investing in education like we need to, and taking climate change seriously. And oh, by the way, getting rid of the private prison industry in the state of Arizona, profiting from putting people in the prison system. That's not right. And so, I mean, I could go on and on the issues, but again, for a lot of us that have been fighting these battles for a long time, I could not be more excited. And so I have really nothing to add other than I hope and pray Adrian Fontes sends me my ballot tomorrow, and I'm in that first batch of ballots, so that my wife and I can drop them off in the mailbox on the first day that we get them. The next day, we get them in the evening, we'll drop them off the next day. And then I can get right to work calling everybody I know and asking them to participate in this election. That's what I'm asking every single person on this call to do. Don't just be a first week voter, be a 24-hour voter. Get that ballot turned around. And I know even with a highly educated, politically sophisticated group like this, you may not have decided all of the judges you're going to vote for or all the judges you're going to vote against, and you may still research that. Don't wait till you get your ballot. As soon as we're off this call, Google the information you need, or go to the information that Gary talked about, the voter guide. Make your decisions now so you can turn that ballot in right away, get it out of the way, and get right back to work with whatever we got. 28 days left until the last ballot is allowed to be counted. And oh, by the way, you and I both know in this election, that ain't going to be the end either, because the other side is going to try to suppress those mailed in ballots that get counted after Election Day. This president has flagged exactly what his plan and strategy is. So we're going to have to fight not just to 7 p.m. on election night, we're going to have to fight even thereafter to make sure that every ballot is counted. All right, with that, I'll be quiet. I know I get probably time for 1 or 2 questions, I guess. And I know there are other incredibly talented and hardworking candidates that want to get on here, and they need your support as well. And I'm going to echo what Gary said. obviously I want you to give me money too, but also give money to Shea and Jennifer, because we need them. We need both of them to represent us in the state legislature. Any questions or comments or thoughts?
Thanks, Congressman Stanton. I'm looking in the chat and I don't see anybody's questions. So now's the time, folks. If you have a question for Congressman Stanton, please put it in or raise your hand. But I just want to thank you on behalf of the people that elected you and the people you represent. Thank you for your leadership in so many ways. You're on the Judiciary Committee in the House, if I remember right. And
correct.
So, yep. So thank you for all you did during the Kavanaugh hearings, and God knows what we'll be facing when we get back to, hearing about the next Supreme Court leader. But again, thank you for all that you're doing. We're really appreciative of that work. It's not easy.
Carol, you are way too kind, but I have to do an instant fact check on you as politely as I can.
Please.
Because I'm on the House Judiciary side, so we were the ones that instituted impeachment. I did not get to hammer Brett Kavanaugh as much as I would have liked to hammer Brett Kavanaugh. I did not have the chance to do it. But what I did have a chance to do is to vote for the DREAM Act, and I had a chance to vote for the Restoration of the Voting Rights Act, and I had a chance to vote for the Equality Act for our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. I had a chance to vote for the Paycheck Fairness Act to make sure women get equal pay for equal work, and I got to vote for all the gun safety legislation, including universal background checks, and I got to vote for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to bring accountability and transparency back into our policing. So even though I didn't get to hammer Brett Kavanaugh, being on Judiciary Committee is really important for our values as Democrats. And when we win the Senate and when we win the presidency, all those things I just mentioned are going to become the law of the land in the United States of America. And it's a great thing. It's going to be a great day. And on the issue of Amy Coney Barrett, I don't know if she's going to get on the Supreme Court or not, but I think the other side thinks they've pulled a fast one by not allowing Merrick Garland to have the vote. And all I'll say is, without getting into any detail on it, just to say, we are not in this country, as long as I'm in the House and the Democrats are in the majority, we are not going to go backwards on civil rights. And whether it involve the access to health care and the Affordable Care Act, or whether it involve marriage equality, which just became the law of the land a couple of years ago, and I know some of the conservative judges want to go backwards on that, or whether it involve issues of choice for women, we are not going to go backwards, nor can we. None of us want this. None of us will allow it. We can only go forwards on the issue of civil rights. We go backwards, that is such a bad thing for our country, and we're going to fight it through every breath we got.
Okay, thank you for the fact check. I do know the Senate is the one that confirms the Supreme Court. I just elevated you to a higher office. I'm sorry.
No. The House.
One of these days. I do have.
No, those senators. I mean, they sit in their ivory towers. We're the people's house. I think that's a demotion to go to the Senate.
That's right. I do have one question in the chat. There
Yes,
is a
please.
question about what are your thoughts about expansion of the Supreme Court?
Well, I am not going to answer that question. We are first going to see what happens with the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett. I think that the Senate has some challenges. I don't want to give people false hope, but as you know, COVID is ravaging the United States Senate right now. And they don't have any rules for voting by proxy like we have in the House of Representatives. And so they don't have any choice but to vote in person. And I don't know how many senators, I don't wish COVID on anybody, but I know there are at least 3 or more senators, tragically, that have COVID right now, and they have no business entering the United States Senate to vote on Amy Coney Barrett or anything else like that. And so I know Mitch McConnell has indicated, well, maybe this is going to go into the lame duck session. But you know what happens in the lame duck session? Mark Kelly is a United States Senator in the lame duck session. He doesn't wait until January. He becomes a senator as soon as the canvass of the votes occur. And oh, by the way, There's one. Is it Georgia? I think it's Georgia, where there's another special election as well, where theoretically, if this becomes a blowout election, we could have another Democratic U.S. senator take office. So my point is, before we talk about any changes to the court, let's first focus on doing everything we can to say it's totally inappropriate to have a Supreme Court justice voted on in the middle of an election, in the middle of a pandemic where so many senators have this terrible, deadly disease. And let's wait until the next president and Senate are elected, because the people are voting on this issue. I mean, the issue that the court's going to vote on, healthcare and civil rights, those are the issues that the people are voting on. We need to wait. So let's see if they come to their senses and do the right thing before we talk about possible changes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Congressman Stanton, and all of the congressman's websites, Twitter and Facebook and so forth are in the chat. So please take a look and reach out. And also, again, for the 9 precincts we have in LD 17, those people that can support Congressman Stanton, please make sure you get that vote in.
Keep fighting LD 17. You are going to make history this election. Maricopa County is the most important county, and the suburban districts are the most important districts. That's you guys. You are in the eye of the storm, and you are going to make history this election. So thanks for all you do, and thanks for letting me say a few words. Now I'm going to go back to watching Mark Kelly win this debate.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you. All right. And now we're going to move along to our solar team. Again, these are state offices for a 4-year term. There are 3 open seats on that commission, and we have 3 fantastic Democrats to fill them. So tonight I'd like to make sure that we get to talk with Bill Mundell, Shea Stanfield, and Anna Tovar. And I don't know who wants to go first, but again, you've got 10 minutes each. You can spend it collectively or individually.
No,
and
15.
Keep your eye on Monroe, and I'll let you decide who goes first. Thank you.
They have a total of 15 minutes.
Yeah, total, 15. Okay, so 5 minutes each. I'm sorry. And you can collectively take questions, and I'll look for those in the chat section.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Bill, Anna, Shea, who wants to start off? Don't be shy.
We're
Meter's
trying
running.
to be polite, Carol.
The meter is running.
Okay, I'll go, I'll talk.
Okay.
Really quickly, because I have had the pleasure of visiting with you all several times over this election cycle since Bill and I got in April 19. It seems like we've been running for this office for all our life. But briefly, I have an education background, as many of you know, 40 years as a teacher and counselor in middle school, high school, junior college. And I grew up here in Arizona, have been very active in land preservation and served in municipal government on planning and zoning, board of adjustment, and town council in Cave Creek. The reason that I bring up the planning and zoning, a lot of people don't think about this, but planning and zoning is the place that if you're going to change building codes.
Is he a smelly lake monster?
If you're going to change building codes in your local municipalities to include solar or to require solar on buildings, planning and zoning commissions are the advisory commissions to councils that vote on those things. And it's really important to know how those bodies work. If we want to literally get down to the weeds and the grassroots level and work on those local jurisdictions in conjunction with the solar team, which has every intention of putting you back on the commission, because the solar team is committed to being the people's representative, not corporate representation. We're committed to giving your voice and being honest, upfront, transparent with you all, and getting you involved in this process and moving renewable energy forward. So I am going to kind of cut it there and let my team speak, and maybe we can get a couple questions here in during our time.
Well, thank you, Shea. Again, it's just an honor to be on with you guys tonight and hearing Congressman Stanton. He's been a true advocate, and I loved working with him when he was mayor, and he does amazing work in your district as well, too. So my name is Anna Tovar. I'm currently the mayor out in the city of Tolleson in the West Valley, and I am running for and am part of the team on the Solar Team 2020. For me, it's a very passionate issue in regards to how we move Arizona forward with renewable energy and how we leave our environment cleaner and healthier for Arizona families. I was impacted at a very young age in my early 20s while I was a school teacher. I was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia while I was teaching kindergarten, a class of like 28 students. And my life literally changed from one day to the next. Come to find out, trying to tackle this toughest journey in my lifetime, it was caused by an environmental toxin. And as Shea mentioned, you know, with her experience as a teacher, we saw too many kids that had issues with asthma and too many environmental issues in regards to their health. So for me, it's personal, and I also truly want to be an advocate for everyday Arizonans and knowing that their stories, their issues matter. We are also committed as a Solar Team 2020 in making sure that we travel the state and hear from all parts of Arizona, regardless if you're a rural, if you're a small town, a big town. We want to truly know what is happening in each of our communities so that we can best represent you at the Arizona Corporation Commission. Renewable energy, of course, we need to do our part. Ever since Bill has left the commission, sadly, they have rolled back on energy efficiency. And we have one commissioner right now, Commissioner Kennedy, who's she's doing an amazing job, but she needs our help. And the only way that we can push forward on an aggressive renewable energy structure is to have all three of us there join Commissioner Kennedy so that we can turn that commission blue. Last but definitely not least, on the important topic of restoring trust and accountability back to the commission. As you know, our commission was established in our state constitution because it needed to be an independent entity serving Arizonans. And we know that is not happening right now. We know that the focus has been with utility companies, monopolies, investing and paying with dark money to get their preferred commissioners elected. And we've seen the results of that. That is truly hurting Arizona families, and that needs to stop. The Solar Team 2020 will bring a stop to that. We're all proud of running and clean elections, and also have taken the no fossil fuel pledge. And so we are a true grassroots efforts in regards to who we want to be and who we want to represent at the commission. So please know that we will have you in every decision that we make at the commission. We are also super tired of the unjustified tax increase, rate increases, and we're going to be there to ask the tough questions and make sure that our vulnerable communities, our communities of color, and making sure that we're going to be their advocate as well too. We'll bring those issues to the table, but we need your help now because we need you to vote all three for the Solar Team 2020 for the Arizona Corporation Commission. And next you'll hear from the birthday boy, Bill Mundell.
Well, Anna, thank you for that introduction. It's great to be here this evening in LD 17. LD 7 and Nancy, you guys are doing a great job. It's a great district. I actually got my start in public service in Chandler. My office is right on Arizona Avenue, across from Chandler High School. Next, everybody knows where Elmer's Taco is, or if you don't, you should. My wife, who's Latina, said they have the best red chili in at least in the East Valley. I don't want to compete with Tolleson and Anna, but I can just say that in the East Valley, it's got great red chili. But I did start my public service career in Chandler fighting corruption in the police and court system. As a result of that, I was appointed by a bipartisan city council at the age of 27 as the presiding judge. I then went on to represent actually the Chandler area. It was District 30 back then. It was actually LD 18, LD 17, and even further east into Queen Creek and Chandler Heights back in my youth. And I was in the legislature, and when I was there, I wrote numerous pieces of legislation protecting Arizona's environment, historical law preventing Arizona from becoming the dumping ground for hazardous waste, also legislation protecting our rivers, our mountains, and our native plants. I then came back into private practice in Chandler on Arizona Avenue. And then in 1999, I was appointed by a Republican governor to the commission, where I served for 9 years. I was chair for 2 years. I wrote the current renewable energy law in Arizona called the REST rules that Anna and Shea both talked about. The Republican commissioners have gutted pretty much everything that we did, all the incentives that we had put in place to encourage rooftop solar. We had our debate last week with our Republican opponents. If you haven't had a chance to see it, please go online, or PBS Channel 8 or Clean Elections, and you can watch it. I bring that up because one of our opponents, has said that solar is a fairy tale. All three of them want to do with even the 15% requirement. It's not a goal, it's a requirement for renewable energy in Arizona. They want to do with that. They don't even want to increase it. They just want to do away with it and make it a goal. And then I think it's important, and Gary, you were talking about spending for public education. One of our opponents, Marquez Peterson, when she was the president of the Tucson Hispanic Chamber, spent money along with APS and Pinnacle West and the Arizona Chamber opposing more money for public education and for our schools. That's who we're running against. And then Eric Sloan, one of our other opponents, and they always say, don't mention your name of your opponents, Bill. Well, I think it's important in this case, you know, all the political consultants say, oh, don't mention their names, you'll give them name recognition. I want them to have name recognition from the perspective that Eric Sloan chaired the APS dark money campaign that Anna talked about in 2016, and he was paid over $10,000 to do that, and they spent over $10 million in customer money to elect utility-friendly commissioners and anti-solar commissioners, who then, not more than 9 months later, rubber stamped the 2017 APS rate increase. And I know most of you are probably SRP customers, but it all flows together. And so that if we get elected, we're going to stop those nonstop unjustified rate increases against Arizona families. We're going to make Arizona the solar capital of the world, and we're going to stop the dark money spending by utilities that has corrupted the commission, our democracy in general, and led to those unjustified rate increases and the crushing of rooftop solar. So thank you very much. Thank you for all your hard work. Yeah, we got a month to go. You know, we got 28 days to go, or whatever it is. We got to keep our nose to the grindstone. If we continue to work hard, we're going to make history, as was said by the congressman. We're going to turn the commission blue. We're going to turn the legislature blue, which is really, really important. We're going to turn the U.S. Senate blue. And we're going to get rid of the orange man in the White House and turn it blue. So thanks again for all your hard work.
Thank you all. Thank you. Yes, I want to just point out that this is a 5-person board or commission. We have 1 Democrat on there right now, Sandra Kennedy. If we elect these 3 people, we will have majority rule. So if you are concerned about the environment, if you care about where Arizona is in the leadership of alternative energy, then you've got to vote for these 3 people and turn this commission blue, because this is our only hope. I've lived here a long time and it's never been done. We need to do it now. Sandra needs help. We got to fight, and this will be our way to do that. And yeah, if you haven't seen that debate, you know, the clean election debate, I'm sure it can be found on the PBS website, but you got to go hear some of these people that they're running against. It's truly sad. So I do have one question here in the chat. It says, is there a percentage of renewable energy sources you would like to see implemented? So I will let whoever wants to take that. Is there a percentage of renewable energy sources you would like to see implemented?
Well, I'm going to ask the question, does that mean, you know, per solar, per wind, per that kind of division? Or is it just renewable chunk as a whole?
Greg? Since this is your question, do you want to answer that so we can give you a more definitive answer? Can you unmute yourself? Oh, cumulative, but solar is more likely, Greg has responded.
Yeah, well, and true. It is in the mix. If you had a pie chart, solar is 40% of all the renewables that are considered in the mix. So yes, right now the stakeholders that have in the REST rules that have come together has say 50% renewable by 2030. Is it, Bill? Is it 2030? And then we have a wiggle date on here, 100% by 2045, 2050. I think we want it sooner than later, but basically the end date is the 2050. But the important thing about that is that once the solar team gets there, we need small baby step goals that they have to meet all along through the years, so they don't wake up like a kid at the end of the semester and and find out they're failing and they can't do anything about it. So that's what we're playing on, is holding them accountable so that they can easily transition to the next thing as different things are expiring throughout the network.
Okay, thanks, Shea. And either candidate want to add anything to that?
Well, the only thing I would add is just be cognizant of when you read about the different plans, making a distinction between purely renewable solar, wind, geothermal, and other sources, and then 100% clean, which is includes Palo Verde. And so you need to make sure that there's a distinction there. When you hear that, our opponents are pushing, they're saying, oh, they're for 100% clean by 250. Well, if you include Palo Verde, we're at 50% right now. And so the Marquez Peterson plan really is smoke and mirrors. It does nothing, because she says, oh, I want 50% by the year 235. Well, we're already at 50% if you include Palo Verde, hydro, and the solar arrays. So it's smoke and mirrors. And she did a good job in the debate, dodging and bobbing and weaving. And I wish I had held her feet to the fire a little, but I missed an opportunity in all candor. But that's why it's important for us to get the word out on it going forward. But we've fallen behind all our neighboring states. At one time when we passed those REST rules that I co-authored back in 2016, Arizona was a leader in rooftop solar, and now we're behind New Jersey, and we're behind all our neighboring states. So we got to get there. And again, I want to repeat it. Our opponents don't even want to keep the 15% in place. They want to do away with it and just make it a quote unquote goal and not a requirement. That's important distinction.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Shea. We appreciate your attendance here tonight. And again, everybody make sure you get those ballots in. All the contact information is in the chat for each of the candidates. So thank you very much for being with us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. I'm going to go have some birthday cake.
Yes, and happy birthday.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye now.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, and our next candidate that's going to speak is our county, Maricopa County Attorney candidate, Julie Gunnigle. She won her primary. And so Julie, if you're on, it's all yours.
I am on. Thank you so much, LD17. I can't wait to make history with you in 28 days. I'll be brief because I know that we've met before, but I just want to give you an update on this race. First, like you, I am beyond excited with my plan to vote. My ballot will be arriving any day. I'm going to get a giant plate of Carolina's food, and I'm going to mark that sucker from the bottom of the ballot, because that's where the real power is, all the way up to the top, and I'm going to get it directly back in the mail. A few big things have changed in our county attorney's race, and I just let you know what they are. First, this is the third largest prosecutor's office in the country. It has been instrumental in driving up our rate of incarceration here in Arizona, making our state the 5th largest incarcerator in the country, 8th largest in the world. We waste $1.2 billion every year in incarceration. There's money better spent in our education system. It's more than we spend in our university system and our community college system and our public health system combined. So this is a job where if we get a reform-minded county attorney, we can save an immediate amount of money just by bringing us down to what the incarceration rate is in those states that are more average and representative in our nation. I'm committed to comprehensive criminal justice reform, to the decriminalization of marijuana, to making sure we stop charge stacking in some of these more outrageous sentences, and to make sure that the system truly is one that is tough and smart and fair. But the passing of Justice Ginsburg brings an additional component to this race that I really believe that we need to talk about, because it looks likely at this point in time that my former law professor, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, will be appointed to our Supreme Court. And I've been very vocal about this because she is an extremist pick and represents one more vote to overturn Roe. And that should be concerning as Arizonans, because in our state, we still have a felony abortion ban on the books. And we still have a law that makes the prescription and advertisement of contraceptives, all contraceptives, illegal. It means that our county attorney would be the person who would be equipped to enforce those laws. And guess what? Our current unelected county attorney has said in writing that she would enforce those laws were Roe v. Wade to fall. So it is more important than ever that we elect a county attorney who has their priorities straight, who recognizes that the real public safety risks come when we encounter crimes that target women, children, our seniors, crimes of violence, and crimes relating to human trafficking and public corruption. That's what this office really ought to be focusing on, and not coming between a woman and her doctor. So it is a very close race as well. We haven't had a Democrat there in 40 years. We've never elected a woman. And guess what? I am tied neck and neck with my Republican opponent, 46-46 with 8% of the population undecided. So now more than ever, I need your help. Gunnigle 2020, there we go, right there. .com is the place to go. But if you have time, we need volunteers. If you have talent, we need phone bankers, and we need all sorts of help with mailings. If you have treasure, oh my goodness, we need money to help get this message out. Because in 28 days, I want to come back to LD 17 and say to you, not just that we've reelected amazing people like Representative Pawlik, and we've elected AJ to the Senate, and that we flipped the House and the Senate, and in our US Senate seat as well, and our presidency, but that we've also elected a county attorney who's willing to hold all of our elected officials accountable. So I'm Julie Gunnigle. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, or you can send me an email. I'm julie@gunnigle2020.com.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Does anybody have a question? I'm looking at the chat. So again, if you've got a question, please. Okay, I have a question here. What is the debate schedule? I assume that, are you debating Adele Allister? Adele, I'm sorry.
My Republican opponent has been offered 7 different debates before ballot drop and has declined all of them. We are going on the radio after ballot drop. That'll be Thursday on KTAR at 10 a.m. and then posted later to their podcast. We are also scheduled, and we don't know if she'll show up to this, but a in-person debate on PBS on October 16th.
Okay, all right. Any other questions in the chat, please? Okay, well, thank you, Julie. Good luck. We are behind you, as you know, and you've been a wonderful candidate to work with. Your team's fantastic, and so we're looking forward to getting you across the finish line, and it will be wonderful to have a female county attorney.
Thank you so much, LD 17. Thank you for all your hard work. Let's go win.
All right, thank you. And now our next county candidate is for an office that many people don't know much about, and we've never had really, I can't remember how long it's been, Aaron can fill us in, but it's been a long time since we even had a Democratic candidate for the county assessor, and that is what Aaron is here to talk about tonight. Aaron's been with us, I believe, before, but we certainly need to hear from him again, and anything that you need from us, please let us know, Aaron. We want to make sure that you're one of the successful candidates for the county's slate that we have. So Aaron Connor, County Assessor.
Thank you so much, Carol, for that incredible introduction. I greatly appreciate it. And it is so great to be back here at LD17. This is a fantastic venue. I wish I could be there. We could be there personally where I could stand in front of you and give a speech, but this is just going to have to do for right now. I'm going to just do a little reset. You probably have heard of many candidates throughout this election cycle. Just to give you a little idea as far as my background. I was born and raised in a small town in Illinois. Spent 20 years in Colorado, and then spent 2 years teaching tech support reps down in Washington, D.C. I'm a mortgage technologist with 26 combined years in IT and the mortgage industry. I have held almost every job within the mortgage industry. I currently configure software to make the process of buying a home more seamless. So when you think about those nerds in the background with the Rocket Mortgage apps, that's me doing the programming. I know the language of assessment, and I'm ready to serve day one. I've never been more proud to say at this moment that I'm the son of 2 first responders. My dad was a police officer that became one of the youngest associate professors at the University of Illinois. My mother is a nurse, and wow, just an amazing woman. I watched her get her degree, her bachelor's degree, while raising us 3 kids, and she is the reason one of the reasons why I'm actually running for this race. I have an older brother that lives in Colorado. He's a commercial young lender. And my youngest sister is a molecular biologist. Yes, before you ask, she is the smartest one in the family. There is no doubt, no question whatsoever. Also, I am honored to be the husband to the greatest woman I've ever known, my wife, Sandra. I always want to thank her for her sacrifice at the beginning of all these meetings, because really the spouses definitely do sacrifice when their husbands and wives go out and campaign. The founder and CEO of a concierge tech support company called ExecTech, and I have a master's degree in information systems management. I earned that degree while working full time. One of the first things that I want to talk to you about is I was talking to an assessor that's currently working in the assessor's office, and they told me about something that I'm very, very concerned about. Do you realize that these schools have not been assessed in decades? And why that's important is that FEMA, when we're talking all these wildfires that's going out in California and have also hit our area, when you think of wildfires and natural disasters, FEMA uses that data that they get from the assessor's office to cut schools a check for disaster recovery. So to think about some of these schools that have not been assessed during for decades, they've grown, they've expanded. So we want to, as soon as I'm elected day one, we're going to get assessors to go out and actually assess those schools to make sure that those valuations are accurate, and that stuff is reported, and that data is reported to FEMA. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is I do call time 3 hours a day. So I talk to voters 3 hours a day, calling them, seeing how they're doing, seeing as far as what I could help. I've been hearing stories of people being actually thrown off senior valuation freeze programs. The current assessor, much like Paul Peterson, he has weaponized this office against working class folks like you and I. And just to give you an example, a few days ago, I was talking to a homeowner, used to be a homeowner. Her name was Connie, and she actually qualified for the senior valuation freeze program. Not an easy task to get 4 years ago. Last year, her son, as a gift, decided to get her central air in her 2-bedroom bungalow. What an incredible gift this son gave her. This resulted in the assessor's office sending out a actual appraiser, a human appraiser, to go out to her property. The reason why an assessor actually went out to that property is it triggered what's called a desktop review. And they have a computer system in the back that targets certain areas, looks for permits. It found that permit, went out, did her property valuation, and increased her valuation 30%. So she was actually, retired, lives off a fixed income. She can no longer afford the home. She went to appeal the decision. The decision was rejected. And not only did she lose her appeal for her valuation, they actually knocked her off the senior valuation freeze program. And I think at the time, and so that resulted in Connie having to put her home up for market, and now she's a renter. Now, to do that during a time of a pandemic, I think is punitive, it's reprehensible and immoral. A home is a person's sanctuary, and now during a pandemic, it is their security. And for someone like myself, I have actually lost a home. So I know what that pain is like. And that pain that I felt by losing my home will guide me through every decision I make as the next Maricopa County assessor. Because what's really lacking in the assessor's office is full-time, qualified, empathetic leadership. And I'm really looking forward to really expanding those senior valuation freeze programs, making it easier to apply. I want to actually, one of the things that I've had based my career on is troubleshooting. I started in tech support back in 1997, and my whole career has been solving problems. So the first problem I'm going to solve is making the forms easier to fill out. You'll be able to actually fill it out. It'll be the size of a postcard. Also lessen the requirements. Right now, it's a 3-year average. If you make less than $37,694, you will be able to get the freeze. It's based on a 3-year average. I want to do that year by year because sometimes you might have an up year and sometimes you might have a down year. But still, we want to make sure that we keep seniors in homes. Also, we live on our smartphones, and with Maricopa County being the fastest growing county in the nation, the fact that the assessor's office does not have an app on our smartphones is it's just unconscionable to me. So once elected, I will create a cutting edge web app that will be available through Google Play, through the App Store. What you'll be able to do is you'll actually be able to basically see any sort of sales data on your parcel. You'll be able to apply for any sort of valuation freeze, a widower freeze, or a senior valuation freeze. You'll be able to securely upload those documents needed for the package. You'll be able to actually scan those right from your phone and securely upload those onto the website. And I just want to make sure that the forms are easier to understand, and really just making sure that we have an assessor that not only values property but the people who live in them. If that sounds like something you could really get into, I could always use donations. We'll actually have it looks like my website is up there. But thank you again for taking me, letting me speak to you today. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Well, we do have one question, Aaron, in the chat. Someone is asking, what is a brief way that we can make people understand why this is such an important office?
That is a great question. So what an assessor does, first of all, is my job will be to assess your property for taxation purposes. So I'll actually put a value on your home and then notify you on a given year. Why that's so important is that your valuation does partially determine what tax you're going to pay. So it's the rate plus the valuation determines what tax you pay. So the reason why that's so important is, and even if you don't even own a home, when you think of 75% of your property taxes goes directly to education, I think you're going to want to have someone with our shared democratic values running that office. And that's really the most important thing, is that you're going to have a fair and accurate assessment. The reason why that's so important, if you ever put your home on sale, you want to make sure that those records are accurate at the assessor's office. But thank you so much for that question. That was great.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the only question I see for right now. So again, we're going to be working hard. We've got the list of the county candidates on that wonderful sheet, and we've been dropping that lid at the door. So we're going to make sure that people are aware of your office and your candidacy, Aaron. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. And now we're going to wrap it up with our hometown team. So we have our current representative, Jennifer Pawlik, and our Senate candidate, AJ Kurdoglu. So I'll let you two decide who's going to kick it off.
I'll go first.
Okay.
That's how we decided. Jennifer said you should go first. I said, all right, I'll do that. Hello, LD17. Hello, home, I should say. I was just thinking, human beings, we got used to this environment. It's been, what, 6 months now? But I missed you guys, even though this is good, it doesn't fill that void that I have. So I'm looking forward to that victory party. Then I'm gonna give each and every one of you, like it or not, a hug. So that's my goal. My name is Kurdoglu. You can call me AJ, and with your support, LD17, I'll be your next state senator. I'll keep it short. I'm a proud first-generation American, first-time candidate, an engineer, small business owner, a family man, most fun uncle ever, and 2 new updates for you. I am right now the candidate, the legislative candidate, the Republicans spent the most money against. That's who I am. And the second thing is, I think this is a little bit more important. I am a candidate as a first-generation American who got endorsed by no other than Barack Obama, by the president. Can you believe that? Oh my God, I can. I forgot even I had to talk about why I am running. You know about the education. I want to provide better education to Arizona kids, but that's not where we're going to stop. We're going to provide them the best. And after the passing of Justice Ginsburg, it is much more important that we have to fight for our health care, because they're going to try to take Affordable Care Act away. So we have to find solution on the state level. And I'm also fighting for small businesses so that they can still provide jobs in our state. 28 days, that's what it's left. And we're doing everything that we can, everything. Phone banking, lid dropping, texting, reaching out them in every shape or form. And we need you in every single one of them. I will kick it back to Jennifer, and then she will mention to you what are we doing on the campaign side, and we discuss more about how you can involve in this last 28 days to push us through the finish line. That's where we are. So Jennifer, take it away. I am so excited.
Thank you. So I am State Representative Jennifer Pawlik. I'm finishing my first term in the Arizona House of Representatives and running for re-election. Before I went any further, I wanted to ask you all for a very special favor. My friend and colleague, Lorenzo Sierra, is a representative who represents District 19 in the West Valley. He has been hospitalized with COVID, and he's intubated. Every day we don't know if he's going to be all right or not. So if you're a praying kind of person, if you could say a prayer for him. If you're not a praying kind of person, if you could send good wishes, I would really appreciate it. So thank you very much. With our campaign, we have been back in the office, which has been a wonderful thing, because like AJ's saying, we miss people so much. It's been awesome to see people coming in wanting to lend a hand. We've been doing lit drops. We continue to make our phone calls. And some people are coming in. I've got a cat crawling across my desk right now. We are making literature packets that walkers can take out. And we've done, oh my goodness, I have to tell you, the letters, 15,000 letters left the office in a matter of 3 days, thanks to so many wonderful, wonderful volunteers. So I can't tell you how grateful AJ and I are for your support and your help. We can't do this alone. And as I look out into your faces, there's so many of you who've been so generous with your time. And I'm so grateful. So AJ, how about you talk a little bit about phone banking?
All right, this is the greatest time to phone bank. If you were waiting for the best time, why? Because we eliminated the potentially not so pleasant conversation. Right now, what it's left on the phone bank, I tell you, they are just twos and threes, that they are ready to show the support that they have for Democrats. There is no exaggeration what I'm saying. The other day I made very short time, 10 calls, 5 no answer, 3, oh, I am with you all the way, and 2 undecided people who said, yeah, I heard you about, I saw you on Facebook and I saw Jennifer Pawlik said, I think I'm gonna look up, research you, but I think we're gonna give it to you guys. I'm like, awesome. So seriously, this is the time to call. It's easy right now. I mean, the best is yet to come on the phone calls. You can do it. And it is important. Really, 28 days. And you know what we are fighting for. You know why this is important. We never had this chance. Once in a 50 year that we have a chance to flip both chambers. We cannot left anything behind. We have to put everything on the line and we have to win this. So please join us to make some calls. You can do it any day, every day, any hour you want, unless midnight, don't do it. But, you know, please call, join us. I'll be there with you. We can sit on each other, you know, on the other side of the Zoom. I will be calling with you guys. Thank you.
Now, there are some of you who I know you're active, you like to be moving around. There are some of you who every day you take a walk. Maybe you take a walk in the morning while it's nice and cool. Maybe you take a walk after dinner. So I'd ask you to consider doing a lit drop. I promise you it is painless. This morning I took a little walk. I had my literature with me. I was out for 45 minutes. I visited 32 houses. And I got to enjoy the beautiful fresh morning. It's easy. You don't even have to talk to anybody. So I would encourage you to join us for a lit drop. And then AJ, what should they do if they've got extra money falling from the money trees in their yard?
Well, you know, I missed my treasurer's report this evening. All right, we have 28 days and we are asking you to donate $1 a day. Jennifer will put a link out there. If you can donate $28. And where are we gonna use those money? You're seeing our ads on your local paper, right? Sun Lake Splash and Stanton News. That's because first time ever we can afford those ads. And you're seeing a lot of our ads on Facebook and Google, all those places. It is thanks to you. And if you want us to spread our messages a little bit more further in our district, we need those dollars. We're gonna invest them wisely and you're gonna get a greatest return ever on that $28. Don't forget, I am the one they spend the most money against. I need your help on this one. We have to respond to Republicans on their attack. So $28, here is the link. We appreciate your help. You brought us here. We cannot do this alone. And I'm so grateful. I always say that. Thank you, guys.
And then the final thing that I wanted to share with you, just in case there's anybody who's new or just in case it slipped your mind, remember that for the House of Representatives, we have 2 opportunities to vote. And what I would encourage you to do is vote 1 for me and purposefully don't use your second vote. That takes a vote away from the Republicans, and that will allow me mathematically to get enough votes to take the win. So remember that, just vote 1 for the House, and if you could tell 3 of your friends, that would be incredibly helpful. Thank you very, very much. We are so grateful for your support. It's not an easy job, and just knowing that you have our back makes all the difference in the world. And then one thing I almost forgot, we have a new team member. We have Rihanna, who has joined our field team. So Rihanna, will you wave at everybody so they can see you? So if you're on a phone bank, there's another helper now. So we have Laura, Hannah, and Rihanna. So thank you so much, everybody.
Looking
Thank you
forward to
both.
see you as your state senator in 28 days, guys. That's where we're gonna meet.
Thank you both so much. Does anybody have a question? I don't see anything in the chat. But I do want to just say, yes, they are spending a lot of money. I don't think I've ever seen J.D. Mesner do a post mailing. I have already seen at least 4 of them at my doorstep. I've already seen, I can't tell you how many emails asking for money. So if nothing else, we've got their attention. And so we've put them on notice. Now we just got to seal the deal. And like Jennifer said, what people don't realize is it's the top 2 vote getters in the House race that go on to take those seats. It has nothing to do with party. So if Jennifer isn't in the top 2, just because she's a Democrat, she's not going to get the seat. So you need to make sure that people understand their only option if they vote 2 is to put a Republican in that other circle on the ballot, and you've just basically defeated Jennifer. Okay, so let's make sure we get that message across, because that's how she won last time. In fact, she was the top vote getter in this district, and we want to see that repeated again. So, all right, I don't see any more questions. So with that, Nancy, I'm going to turn it back to you to finish off the night.
Thank you. So we didn't do too bad on time. So.
Not too bad.
So I want to thank everybody for attending. This is the last meeting, formal meeting. We'll have a reorganization, and then the next meeting will be in January. We'll try to figure out something we can do in December to celebrate the holiday and do something fun, bring our beverage or whatever. So I'll talk to some of the folks that like to put things together, like Deborah, for the Thursday. So we'll figure, see, she's already waving, so she's thinking already, I can tell. I want to tell all of you, you are amazing. I also want to remind you, it's going to be a tough 28 days and probably a week or 2 after November 3rd. If you hear any rumors or anything that disturbs you about something someone has said or whatever, please let me know. We're trying to make this a safe election for everybody. So that requires eyes and ears out there in your community, even though I know you're not out there a whole lot, you hear things. So please keep in mind that if you do see something that's a little off, and you know, for example, some of the things that are happening at OD's house is very disturbing. So make sure you let us know. And you guys have vote, plan your vote, go for it. I know we're going to have a blue tsunami, and I know we're going to be a part of it. So just thank all of you for what you've done. And don't forget, we have lit drops. We're in the office. Come see us. We'll be more than happy to give you a box full. So thank you. Any other comments or questions before I say goodbye? It looks like not.
Trump has tweeted 62 times today.
Oh, he has?
Yeah. 2/3 of the last
there's
hour.
There's a rumble about whether or not it's him tweeting. So
yeah.
If everything's spelled right, it's probably not him.
Seems like it's him.
That's too bad. Well, this is, as my husband used to say, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
So. All right, you guys. Have a great rest of the evening.
Bye,
Talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.